He's sweaty. Ew. Ew.
Big thank you to the sponsor of today's video, AG1 by Athletic Greens. AG1 is a nutritional drink specifically designed to kind of help your overall daily, health routine by providing you with 75 ingredients. We're talking things like micronutrients, so vitamins and minerals, probiotics, adaptogens, superfoods, just overall a lot of what is going to help your body optimally function on a day-to-day basis. Now, there are a lot of benefits to this. We're talking things like immunity, overall nutrient absorption and digestion, energy, even like healthy aging. For me personally though, I would say the number one benefit in my routine is essentially providing my body, my diet with everything that I am missing, because sometimes, especially recently while I'm cutting down, I don't necessarily eat the best. Maybe it's great from some basic standpoints in terms of muscle gain and fat loss, but sometimes it's very limited, especially when I'm eating the same 6, 7, 8 foods over and over again on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. I'm not exactly getting the best, the optimal micronutrient variety that my body requires. Also, it's really convenient and simple to use. I mean, you literally just mix 1 scoop or a travel packet of AG1 into about 8 ounces of water, mix it up, and that's it. This way, it's really easy to incorporate into something like a daily morning routine, for example. Right now, you guys can go to athleticgreens.com/VitruvianPhysique to get started on your order. And on top of that, Athletic Greens is going to give my community, you guys, a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, as well as 5 free travel packs with your order. So if you guys are interested, check it out. Link in the description box below.
The government gimp at last.
Bite me.
Let's go.
You fuck around while I'm out there. I'll climb back up this rope and strangle you with it. Yeah.
That scared me.
Come feel this.
Oh my god. It's really hot.
Yeah, there's so much rope friction.
Oh my god.
That's why you can actually see how like the paint's coming off.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it's fine. It's all cosmetic. This thing can handle like a lot more than my weight, my heat, my everything. Success. Did not die. First rappel of this season. Now, time to get back up. So one thing I wanted to do today, which is a little different, is take a little bit of a throwback, take a trip down memory lane to, this is a few months ago. This was the first outdoor climbing, trip of the season. So this is still technically within my competition prep, although this was like 14, 16 weeks out, something like that. So clearly a much better version of myself in terms of calories, in terms of carbs, and let's be honest, overall physical and mental state. It's interesting, I actually saw this comment. This was on a recent video of Greg Doucette, who did a whole video about me. And yes, for those of you guys wondering, I do want to do like a legit standalone formal video where I do a full response. Probably film that a little bit later this week. But there is one comment I wanted to address, which really, kind of made me happy. This guy said, like, one of the great things about Igor is that, he's a lot more functional based in addition to obviously things like, getting stronger, getting bigger, just pure, visual hypertrophy standpoint. He also tries to use his body functionally. And, it seemed like that comment did well, got a lot of likes, and, I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to see there's a lot of people who kind of agree with this mentality of mine. And I thought, you know what, in honor of that person, because he asked for it, I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of showcase exactly what I talk about. So yeah, this is a full day of climbing over at this cliff that's sort of like an hour outside of Toronto where I live. It's called Rattlesnake Point. It's like this 120 foot cliff, which was formed millions of years ago when a glacier literally like ran through what is now Toronto and left sort of these two massive cliffs on opposite sides of each other. And luckily now, millions of years later, I get to climb it. Show us, babe. Show us your hiking skills.
Okay.
Just in case anything goes wrong, I have a secret weapon. And by that I mean...
The worst whistle ever.
Two things that I use. We call these ascenders. So, they go one way. They go up, they don't go down. because there's these little teeth in there. So it's kind of like a one-way valve. 99 times out of 10, if you fall, everything's going to be fine.
99 out of 10.
Well, 99 out of 10 times 2, so it's actually 1 out of 10,000. The point is, you're going to be fine. You probably don't want to take like massive falls on it. Oh! But for what I'm doing, you'll be fine. This time, we're going to try to stick to the right, which is a harder route. Probably going to take a bit longer, a lot more falling, but more of a challenge. Oh man.
You getting wet?
There's just not much for your hands. I'm looking for like ridges like these. See this? This is great. These cracks, these ridges. This is like, I got nothing. The problem with this one on the right is that they're, a lot of times, what your hands are on is actually like a foot off the wall, and then where your feet are like, it's almost like an overhang. It's like an undercling. So the problem is, A, there's not much to put your feet on, and B, sometimes you can't even see it. You see like what's down here, and then where your feet are, it's like a drop off, so I can't really see what's under there. So I'm kind of just like flying blind. My feet are kind of just like trying to find something to like stick my toe in. Yeah, it's challenging. You see, this is called an overhang. And pretty much it makes everything twice as hard. That was hard. Just call me Grizzly Man. It's cool because this literally comes straight like out of the mountain. You know when you guys buy like mountain spring river mountain water, this is it. This is literally it. This one's quite large. That's what she said. Compared to the one I just did. I think that one was like maybe like 70 feet. This one's definitely like 90, maybe 100, give or take. So this next one actually proved to be pretty damn hard. Like, I'm gonna speed through this, but honestly, I think I was up there for like 20 minutes. And it wasn't necessarily the height, it was just that there was this one part specifically right here, kind of like towards the middle-ish of the route, where things got very challenging. And the crazy thing is, there's just not that much to grab onto. You can... All right, guys. Couple of things I want to talk about today, but the first one is I just want to warn you this might be a little bit of a shorter video, and there's a very simple explanation for that. I am fucking exhausted because honestly I don't do anything besides eat, sleep, and train, and honestly 90% of that is sleep, or if I'm not asleep I'm sitting there in a sort of daze where I'm like honestly like 40% conscious. Like I was sort of joking with Jordan how like I'm actually a little worried about driving right now because it's like my reflexes, my just ability to focus on something is dramatically diminished. But a few things I want to talk about right now is sort of the changes that I have implemented recently now that we are into the final month of dieting. Number one, this really quick, really simple, just as I mentioned in the previous video, eating out, what I used to be doing back then a little bit, is now pretty much mostly gone. If I can't perfectly track the macros, essentially I'm not putting it into my body. The other thing I'm doing is new macros. I'm doing 190 protein, 70 fat, 165 carbs, which comes out to 2,050 calories. And obviously on top of that is cardio, which by the way I do not factor in. So again, if my calories are 2050, I need to eat at or under that. Now, if I burn an extra 300 calories of cardio because I went for a walk or actually I don't count walks, but like a jog, an incline walk, some legit cardiovascular exercise, that's great. In fact, now that's mandatory. We don't count that. So I don't add that into my FitnessPal and allow myself to eat extra 300 calories. I'm not doing that. I did in the beginning, and then I kind of started doing it halfway. So I would eat, I'd burn 300 and eat back 150, and now it's the opposite. Now it's I burn 300 and eat back 0. The only other major change I want to mention, because this is something I talked about, I think it was like 8-10 weeks out, something like that, Yohimbine, or Rawlysine, which is like a somewhat different version, but essentially I believe it still falls under the umbrella of the Yohimbine supplement. For those of you guys that don't know, this is a popular-ish fat burner, one of the few fat burners out there, which it seems like there is a decent amount of evidence behind it, especially anecdotal as well as some legit scientific. I actually haven't really been using that. I did it so for like about a week or two, and then I actually had to stop. But before I stopped, actually I cut the dose in half. I would literally take my pills with the powder in them, sprinkle half of it out into some water, drink that, then close the pill with the remaining 50% and then leave it in there for another day. The reason I'm doing this and the reason that I've stopped is because I feel like fucking shit. For me personally, like, it wasn't just like, oh, it's a little weird. It's like I am non-functional. This just goes to show that, like, I can't handle this kind of stuff. And which is why I could never see myself realistically getting into like the crazy shit that people do, like the actual PEDs. But obviously Yohimbine isn't banned by WADA and perfectly allowed in, bodybuilding preps. But like that stuff, like we're talking like clenbuterol, actual like PED drug pharmaceutical thermogenics, like that shit is, I assume, more powerful than this. And if this was so bad I have to stop after a week or two, I can't imagine that crazy stuff. It would make my heart like pump out of my chest and then like fall out and roll across the floor. Like, fuck no. The way I felt, it's like I have the flu. And it's not like caffeine. Caffeine kind of gives you the jitters. You might get a little warm. You kind of just feel like, you just feel more energetic. This isn't like that. This just made me feel like just bad. I just felt dirty. I just felt like I had the flu. I felt warm. My mind, I was shaky. I remember I took this is back when I first started taking a full dose. I was trying to write a caption on Instagram and I couldn't do it because my fingers are like I didn't have the fine motor skills to type because my fingers were shaky and my mind was, this stuff, I mean, on the right side, I mean, if it makes me feel like this, it's probably working. I can't really say because I didn't use it long enough to actually formulate an opinion, but it probably does work. Again, this is one of the reasons why it's one of the only sort of fat loss supplements out there that I've heard about that people actually do stand behind, anecdotal evidence-wise. That being said, I can't fucking do it. If you guys are out there and you can use it and it works for you, great. Just, again, please be careful with this shit because, again, even on half doses, it was too much. I had to stop taking it. I'm like, I will quadruple scoop pre-workouts before I take even a half dose of that stuff again. If it was like that for an hour and a half, fine. But it got to the point where I'd wake up, I'd take it before my morning cardio at 9 a.m. and then it would be 3 p.m. and I'm still feeling like that. It got to the point where I couldn't go on with my day. I couldn't do my job. I couldn't do emails, type freaking text messages. I couldn't do diddly shit. I would just sit there and try not to die for 6 hours. Just for me personally, it's not for me. For other people out there, maybe they tolerate it better. Great, Godspeed. I am not one of those people. So yeah, I am off the Yohimbine train, and I have been for pretty much since 8 weeks out. I literally took it for a week and a half, and then I was like, I'm out.